What we're not going to do is this. Okay.
That's how we're.
Welcome welcome back to Journey to Peace with me. Y'all have asked for Mr. Journey to Peace with me to join us, and so here he is.
I'm back.
This video is about how we got started on our budgeting journey. Y'all ready? Let's get into it. But first, if you're not subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below so that you can join the family. And don't forget to hit the bell notification so you're notified whenever I post a video. You never know when this face right here is going to join us. All right, let's get started. How did we start our budgeting journey? Well, let me tell you, it was not a joint discussion.
It's not true. It's not true. That's not totally true.
It was not a joint discussion. So we started back in 2016. In 2016, we were headed on a vacation. We were going to Barbados.
Vacation, everyone. Vacation.
We were going to Barbados with a couple friends. We had planned for this trip, so we had already budgeted for the trip, and we weren't just swiping credit cards to pay for it. But I went to the store to find some snacks for us for the plane, and while I was there, I was in Kmart, and while I was there, they were having their going out of business sale, and I went to the book section because I'm a nerd. Y'all know this. And I found a Dave Ramsey book. It was the Total Money Makeover book. And that is how we got started. I know, going on vacation, that was the book I chose to take with us.
That's how she got started. Let's rephrase that. That's how you got started.
What we're not going to do is this. Okay.
That's where you got started.
But that's not what we're going to do.
Because it said, how did we get started? That's what they're here to find out, how we as a couple got started. That's how you got started. I didn't get started that way.
How did you get started?
I got force fed.
By me?
Yes.
That's why I said it wasn't a joint conversation.
But you said that's how we got started. It's not factual. I'm just trying to be factual. Continue.
Okay. I started reading this book and it was very enlightening. It told me, that basically we were in financial ruin and we needed to work ourselves out of it. And we needed to start planning for the future, which at that time we were not doing intentionally. Because we both work for the Florida retirement system, we are forced to contribute 3% of our income. That's all we were doing at the time. So I took this book to mean we're going to retire poor and we need to figure out how not to let that happen to us. So on vacation, I would tell him, so Dave says, and he is looking at me like, who is Dave?
First off, why are you talking about this on vacation? I'm trying to enjoy my vacation with my lovely wife.
Also, at that time in 2016, I had just bought a car, the car that I have right now. It's a 2013 Infiniti JX35. I bought it. It was pre-loved, but I bought it in 2016. And
Is pre-loved the way you say used?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So I bought it in 2016 because we needed 3 rows because my children were aggravating each other in the 2-row car that I had at the time, which was, what was it? A Nissan Rogue.
That she never should have gotten.
Yeah. So I got this one. But at the time, reading that book, it made me feel like I had just made the worst mistake of my life and I was going to be paying for this for 7 years. Which is what I had signed up for. So that is how I got started with the budget. And he got drug along because I said, Dave says we're married. This is what we're supposed to be doing and we should be doing it together. And he said,
according to my wife, I said, no. I don't remember this conversation, but according to her, I said, no. Okay, so this is what you have to understand. My philosophy of saving was slightly different. I have mutual funds and stock and things of that nature already. So my idea of saving was to put a little aside, and then when you have saved up enough, add to what I already had. But I did not take into account, which was a fault of mine. I did not take into account that when we retire, we both retire. I retired first, hopefully. So I was still kind of on the individual savings plan, like I save, you save. And then when we go on vacation or when we do something, we kind of both take a little bit from that to make it happen. But I got drug into, unwillingly at first, but I'm happy I did, got drug into joint saving. The one thing that has disappeared in my saving has been my coins. I like my change. I enjoy having a boatload of change in my car, just different places around. I like to have change. And my change has disappeared. I no longer have change. So when I go to buy things, I don't have change.
Do you like the Christmas tree that we get every year, the live version?
I do.
Do you like the ornaments that we get every year to put on the tree?
I love the ornaments that you get every year.
Do you like having the extra money to be able to gift our nieces and nephews things?
Which is why I don't complain about my change.
Okay.
On a regular basis.
Okay.
But this is for the people.
Okay,
This is for my people.
Okay.
This is for my Journey to Peace people. I miss my change. But I can say that the one thing that has come out of this that I have tried to readopt. Okay, so initially, I'm gonna give you some background. Initially, I was a cash only person. Like when I got out of school, first graduated, I was a cash only person. So if I didn't have the cash to do it, I just wouldn't do it, even if it was on a trip or whatever. Then, because I had to build up my credit, I got a credit card and got a debit card. And then it kind of transitioned into a credit card person and a card person. And no longer was I a cash person. But I have tried to slowly adopt this cash deal. It's still kind of difficult for me, but I think I've gotten pretty good at using cash. But the problem with that is every year she comes up with a new challenge.
Y'all like my challenges?
Every year it's a new challenge. So I'm trying to adopt myself to this cash thing, and then my 1s and 5s start disappearing. First, my coins started disappearing out of my car. So I get into my car and I have, where the ashtray used to be, I have my coins. I get in my car one day and all my coins are gone. So, okay, I know where the coins are going. Then I got a few bucks on the dresser or whatever, and I come back and all I got is 10s and 20s. All my 1s and 5s are gone. So now my 1s and 5s are gone and my coins are gone. So I feel like I'm getting robbed.
But mine are gone too, though.
Yeah, but see, I don't see yours. You see yours. I don't see yours.
You see it because it's in the 5s and 1s account. So when you need it.
But when I see the 5s and 1s, because I feel like that's all my 5s and 1s.
It's not.
I'm just saying how I feel. Because every time I have a 5 and a 1, it's gone. Now, the fun thing that we did on vacation was the 5s and 1 challenge on vacation.
That was not fun.
That was fun. That was a challenge to me. I enjoyed that.
That was not fun. We did that in Disney last summer. So if you haven't watched the Disney video, go ahead and do that. I'll link it up here in the eye. But for that one, what we did was we continued the 5s and 1s challenge, even though we were on vacation. So every time we got a 5 back, we got a 1 back, we put it to the side. We also did it when we went on a family trip to Georgia. That is the hardest thing to do while you're on vacation, is to put your 5s and 1s aside. We had the vacation cash, and that's what we're using. And so those 5s and 1s just started to add up. I think we came back from Disney with like $60 in 5s and 1s. I don't remember how much we came back from Georgia with. But yeah, he doesn't like that challenge either. He also did not like the Feed Yourself February challenge that we did. that we did this year. But that will be another video. We'll talk about
feed yourself challenge.
No, we're just gonna give them a teaser.
No.
So we'll talk about the challenges in another video because you see this face right here.
I got brothers. Any husband watching this, ladies, go get your husband. Go get your husband, because see, y'all, sometimes you all try to do this by yourselves and then drag. Husbands, listen. When we talk about these challenges, prepare your pre-plan. Tell her, let me know a month in advance of the next challenge that's coming so I can plan myself. Because I'm telling you, the struggle with these challenges is real.
Speaking of challenges, we are going to come up with our challenge for November because I've been slacking because COVID. But November is probably going to be New Goals November. So what are our new goals going into 2021? And then we'll do something for December. So not a financial challenge.
Okay.
Right? We're on different kind of journeys. But anyway, so this is how we got started with our budgeting process. In the last video, we talked about having separate accounts. So I have my own personal account. He has his personal account. And then we have a joint account. And that joint account is both saving and checking. And then you see me do the savings challenges and all that stuff in the Capital One account, but we agreed that we put some money in the Capital One accounts because those are earning interest for us. And so you guys see the balances there for those accounts. How did we end up with the separate accounts versus one?
Oh, before we get to that, I think the most difficult thing was the zero-based budget, because we both had credit cards. I didn't know how much she had on her credit card. I knew how much was on mine, but I didn't realize how much she was using her credit card to, like, I guess just to kind of
To live.
Right. I knew how much I was using mine, but when we started talking about the zero-based budget or zeroing out our credit cards and what we were going to do it, that was probably the most difficult part of starting the budget for me, because then I got a glimpse into the reality of how much was being spent on her part. Like I said, I knew what I was spending, so I knew what my budget. I knew what my credit card amount was. But when I heard her credit card amount on top of her student loans, just to see how much debt we were in as a family, it was like, yo, we need to really slow down. You know, because you're kind of living life. Like we were living life, and it was like we weren't, trying to keep up with the Joneses. We were living inside. I would say we were living inside our means.
At the time, we were living inside of our means, and that wasn't the problem. The problem was those years where we were not. For me, my debt got started because school. So the problem came when I had just graduated from law school and I was trying to care for our daughter. He had allowed me to go to law school and he cared for her for the first 3 years. He did everything for her financially at that point. And then this was his time to live his dream. That's what we had talked about. So his dream was to see if he could make it doing college coaching and coach on a higher level. So that meant I needed to be home and care for our child. And I was not making a whole lot starting as an assistant public defender. I think back then I was making maybe $40,000. And I was taking care of our household, our daughter. And then when he left, I helped with some of his bills. And so that left me with paying for things on a credit card, because for the first
I want to interject right here, because I don't want people to think that it was that. I was a grad assistant at the time, which means I was making no money.
And that's fine.
Zero.
Because I was in law school and I was making no money. But because my parents were basically raising our daughter, even though he was supporting her financially, my parents were raising her, I did not want them to pay for anything else outside of that. So gas was on a credit card, groceries on a credit card. She had to go to the doctor on a credit card. Whatever bill that I could pay to put on a credit card, that's what I did. And so when he saw the numbers, that's what he was seeing, but he didn't see how it got there, because I didn't want to, that wasn't his worry. He was living his dream. And that's all I wanted for him to do. So when we get here, now it's like, Lord, look what we have done.
Some doors had to be opened up. Like, we had to expose ourselves, our financial troubles that we were eating by ourselves.
Yeah.
Like it's weird that I know some people jump in full force and just merge everything. And sometimes that's a good thing, but sometimes it can be a bad thing, just because if one, you're bringing you're trying to combine two debts. And I think if we would have done it that way, we would have been in really bad shape, trying to combine both debts into one.
No, I think we could have worked it out where we probably would have moved a little bit faster than we had. But we were able to make it work. So that's how we started. When we got started, we had a conversation about having joint accounts. One account, like we are one, so we should have one account, because that's how my parents did things. You see him shaking his head because this was the battle we were having back then, and it took me a while to just say, okay, fine, whatever. We'll just have the 3 accounts.
Are you happy that you have your own account now?
I am.
See,
I am. It's not the way my parents did it, but it works for us. I think this is where your parents did it.
Yes. And what I saw the benefit, like, I guess for me at one point, I saw both sides. So at one point, my parents did have one joint account. And then I believe at some point they decided to have a joint account and 2 separate accounts. And I think that things just got easier when they both had 2 separate accounts with a joint account, because they knew what was coming out of the joint account at that point. Like, okay, this is what's coming out of the joint account. We just need to make sure that the money's in the joint account for that. Now, anything on the outside, like me, I'm a tech person. Okay, I think we just got a new Google Mini that came from me, because that's what I like. I like to have the technology around the house. So I know that she's not. So the discussion that would have happened based off of us just trying to get that one thing would have been a big discussion, because she wouldn't have seen the benefit of it, but I would have seen the benefit of it. Now that it's here, do you see the benefit of it? No, I do.
But on the flip side, I've gotten into planning, and my stickers, he doesn't see the benefit of that. And telling him that I'm going to spend $50 on some stickers. You didn't hear that part.
I wouldn't have understood that.
So you didn't hear how much it costs. So telling him that I'm going to spend money on stickers, he's probably going to be like, stickers? How old are you?
I'm not going to understand that.
All right. So that's how we got started with the 3 separate accounts that we have. It works for us. I know there are a lot of channels out here that strictly follow Dave, that tell you that because you're married, you should only have one account. But our opinion is, do what works for your marriage, for your relationship, whatever it may be. So there are some financial gurus that tell you do not combine finances until you are married. I think I agree with that.
Yes.
Some of them will tell you because you are married, you should only have one account.
I do not agree with that.
I have now transitioned to that side where I don't necessarily agree with that account.
Another thing that I've heard, that I've had conversations with people about, is the difference between when you have the joint account, where you have the 3 accounts, the difference between percentage and a complete split. Mm-hmm. Because that makes a big difference based off of people's income. I think we do complete split. We do a 50-50 split. I know some people who do percentage. So the person who makes more puts more in.
I tried to do percentage.
I wasn't in agreement with percentage. I prefer 50-50.
And that's fine. So when we're talking about our accounts, and if you've ever wondered why my accounts have the sinking funds, and that's what I'm doing, and I say this is ours, it's because that is how I make up for him not wanting to do the split, or him not wanting to do the percentage. So whatever is left over, that's our vacation fund. That's our.
Hold on, you told me I put in towards that.
No, I did not tell you that.
You did. See, we learned. I told you we learned a lot.
So I'm doing that because it benefits our family, and that's all that this is for. All of this is so that our family has a better life than we were having beforehand. We have recently talked about how our oldest daughter, she struggled with us in our growing years. And even though we are just inching our way out of that right now, my husband doesn't have the credit card stuff that I have to deal with now because of putting, the townhouse stuff on it. But she struggled with us, and our little ones are getting the benefit of where we are now, being more financially stable, being financially happy. Whereas our oldest, she would tell you often, if you asked her or told her she needed something, she would say, my mama's going to say, it's not in the budget.
It's not in the budget.
And then she would say, my daddy's going to say, you remember what you used to tell her? She would say, my daddy's going to say, if you want me to have it, you should buy it for me. These littles, they hear us say no, but now it's a no because we don't want to buy it, versus our oldest, the no was, we can't afford it. And so.
But I don't think she actually knew. I don't think she knew that.
No, she didn't know it, but that's just what she was living. That's what she was living with. So back then, when I was struggling and he was in grad school doing the coaching thing, we didn't have cable. We didn't have internet at our house. She didn't realize that. She was 3 or 4. She didn't realize we didn't have internet or cable. So back then we were watching Cosby Show on box DVD sets, and she thought Cosby Show was new and on TV at the time. She didn't realize, sis, this is an old show from back in the 80s. So like right now she can probably recite for you every episode of Cosby Show. We used to watch Psych.
We had a plethora of...
On box DVDs, we were watching
you had
Grey's Anatomy.
Grey's Anatomy.
I got him hooked on that.
I was hooked for like 6-7 seasons.
Yeah, and so we would just rotate and repeat those things. We bought her a couple of Sid the Science Kid. Right, Sid the Science Kid. And we put that for her now, for back then. And for me...
Schoolhouse Rock.
Yes. And for me... I would watch whatever show I wanted to watch when I got to work the next day. I was at work, had internet. I watched that show while I was at work during a break or something. And it didn't really bother me so much. When he started living with us, he was like, y'all don't have internet. What is this?
That has to change now.
So he took that on as one of the bills that he wanted. It was not in my budget because we were doing just fine without it. But now our little ones, they get the benefit of us choosing not to have cable because we'd rather have Hulu or Netflix. But that's a choice that we were making versus the necessity that we had to do back then in order to make our bills, in order to make the ends meet. So that's where we are right now. Join us for the next conversation that we're going to have. Leave a comment in the section.
What are we going to talk about next?
I don't know. Leave a comment in the comment section down below for what your next video choice is.
Fellas,
going to be.
I need your vote. I need your help. Let's talk about these challenges because I know your wives, I'm sure your wives are putting you through these challenges. I need your vote. I need you to come into those comments and vote for us, our next conversation to be about these challenges because I have some things that I need to get off my chest.
So what he doesn't realize is that the analytics tell me that the majority of the people that watch our videos are women.
Right. But I'm calling for my brothers.
They didn't watch it.
Wives. please let your husband see this. Please let your husband see. Cause I need to get this off my chest.
Okay.
These challenges, even though the end result is great, they can.
Speaking of challenges, we need to go ahead and wrap these coins. You gonna help me this year? Did you just go blank on me? Did you go to sleep on me? So I'm gonna need some help wrapping these coins because he fell asleep. And this is what he does when he doesn't want to answer my question. All right, so we'll see y'all in the next video. Until next time, journey on. When I had just graduated from law.
Mine.
Hour.
Oh.
Problem.
Get them talking, they'll tell you some real stuff. Go ahead. I apologize. Go ahead. I'm not going to say that. But I do realize, though, that in school, I recall you being in college, well, you being in a law school and looking at her law books. They had, they were all post-it notes with notes on the post-it notes, with notes for the post-it note so she could remember which post-it note, and it was color-coded. So when I saw the planner, I kind of knew, like, okay, that is her organizational skill. But as long as, because I've been trying to get her to adopt the calendar concept, and it wasn't working for her on the phone. Like the phone calendar was not working for her. So it was kind of like a compromise. Like, okay, you have a calendar, yours is a planner. My calendar's on my phone. So at least, we have that.
So I'm going to tell you, that's going to be a separate video, and that's going to go under our marriage files when we're talking about the calendar and how that conversation went and what we're doing now with our calendar. So stay tuned.
How we got there.
So stay tuned. That's going to go under the marriage, under the marriage tab of this channel.